Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the second game of the day, and it's gonna be between 7Heaven ladies up against EVOS Esports. So I'm really excited for that matchup. We are about to jump straight into the draft because the draft has already begun. Don't want to miss any of that out. So this is the draft at this point of time. And looks like we're gonna see 7Heaven ladies begin on the blue side. EVOS Esports gonna be on the red. And obviously we're gonna see the Claude and Selena getting banned out. Kimi Esmeralda banned on Southern EVOS. I like that. It does open up the Valor pick. There's also Uranus, there's Kufra, which I think is really valuable. So it really depends on what 7Heaven ladies want to go for. Personally, I do prefer the Valor pickup, and they do decide to go for the Valor. I like that a lot. EVOS Esports can now actually take the Kufra up for themselves. There is also a lot on the back they can go for. There's Kajar they can consider, and the fact that they pick up Kajar, they can go for Atlas is an interesting pick. I think Atlas is really vital for 7Heaven ladies, given that they have to pick up the Valor. And I didn't really expect EVOS Esports to go for the Atlas themselves, because, you know, for those who play really high mythic games, you would know that Atlas gets countered by Valor by quite a bit. There is, you know, that to take into consideration. There is also, you know, a fact that Valor can push Atlas away from the battlefield when she's trying to set up into the fatal links. You will see most of the time, you know, Valor just making sure that he uses a Surrey Torrent to push him away, whether he's used a perfect match, whether he's trying to go in for the Annihilate. Valor is just a really good pick to push all these heroes that want to stay close. And for the most part, we will see EVOS Esports try to close that gap. So we might see Kaja play a more aggressive role as a support compared to a mage. Meanwhile, we do see 7Heaven ladies picking up the Hylos and carry. I really like that. You know, Hylos is a really stable frontliner. He provides a lot of damage through Ring of Punishment as well, so he can peel for his teammates. And obviously, you do have that glorious pathway that can allow your team to play aggressively, or, you know, you can even retreat from the battlefield if you need to. But for the most part, I think, you know, 7Heaven ladies, they have a pretty balanced draft so far. They'll be looking to pick up 2 more fighters to complement the draft. You know, there's a lot on the board. There's Xbox they can consider. There's also Uranus, and you can see EVOS Esports, they identify the threat, they ban out the Jawhead. And it's really important for 7Heaven ladies now to ban out the MM. So one of the marksmen which I think they should ban out is either Grandeur or Bruno, just to make sure that it's hard to keep for EVOS Esports to pick up an MM that can keep up the pace of the carry. They've already set up a really good draft for themselves. You know, they only have to worry about the Kaja. They ban out the they ban out the Hanzo. I think it's respectable. Maybe they know that EVOS Esports likes to play the Hanzo. You know, Hanzo obviously with the rework, you know, he does get a jump now, so it's really hard to say whether or not we will see any of these Hanzo getting played or whether being led through. We did see a ban previously in the previous game, so it's no surprise here. Xbox getting picked up by EVOS Esports, and that leaves Uranus open. They can also go for the Tamus if they want. Tamus is already picked up, so obviously I didn't see that. There is also a couple of other fighters that's available. There's Sylvana that's available. I think Sylvana is pretty decent. If they want to go for something more aggressive, they can go for Cho. I think Cho is also on the board. So I'm really surprised to see that Cho hasn't been considered so far. They decided to go for Leomon, so I think it's not too bad of an issue. But I think a Cho would have been a pretty good pick. For the 7Heaven ladies, you know, Cho is someone who can provide damage. You pick up Blade of Despair and an Endless Battle. You know, you speed up, you lower the cooldown, and he becomes so viable. 1-1. I would say EVOS Esports draft is pretty decent, but, you know, there is a slight concern about whether or not EVOS Esports can keep up to the pace put up by 7Heaven ladies, because, you know, if you look at the draft, you know, you do see a Valor, you know, heroes like Carry, heroes that can skill up really quickly, and, you know, with Hylos doesn't really need much to frontline for his team, really tanky and stable frontline. So we'll see how that one goes, but for the most part, I think it really comes down to which team is able to get their marksman up to speed ASAP. And really nice looking skin on the Kaja right there. But I think more importantly, you know, EVOS Esports is they have to deal with this Valor, right? He's gonna be constantly or rather she is gonna constantly try to use saving Thomas to keep the distance between, you know, both the Atlas and Kaja away from the teammates. And you know, I think there is also a certain element where you do see a lot of Purifiers on 7Heaven ladies, so they do recognize the threat of the Kaja's Divine Judgment. They recognize the threat of the Fatal Links.
Mobile Legends. 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them.
Like I said, it really comes down to whether or not the Kaja can pick someone out, and whether or not this huge CCs on the part of EVOS Esports, whether or not they can land on intended target. If they can catch out either the carry or the Valor, I think that is a really huge win for EVOS Esports, because they are counting on this ultimates, like I said, to really get ahead in terms of battle. And we're gonna see Violet put a bit of pressure on the motor sides. Not that, you know, Uranus is gonna matter too much. Uranus can definitely stand his ground against a Tamus with the right wave management. But obviously, till Uranus gets that level 4, Tamus will be looking to bully that Uranus for quite a bit. A lot of 1-1 action in the bottom lane. Meanwhile, top side, Yumara is going to go up against Xbox, who's split by Pika, using the fire missiles to bully Yumara over there with the range.
Request backup.
Both Violet and Vivo gonna be playing a lot slowly right now, obviously waiting for their ultimates right here. But we did see a siege coming up. Burst Fireball not landing on his target, wasn't able to slow Violet right there, but you know, doesn't really have to worry too much. They can just slowly push out the bottom side. Meanwhile, Caramel playing this 1-1. She's gonna need a lot of support from teammates just to set up for the crossbow tank. And that's one of the issues that I have with 1-1, is that despite all the damage that she even drops that, but it's okay, she's got the gold buff, so it isn't really too much of an issue. But like I said, I think for the most part, 1-1 is a hero that it's pretty balanced now. You know, you get a hero that has ultimate that's really useful in team fights. You know, if you can get the stacks up, she can become quite a bit of a hassle to deal with. And you know, I think if you look at EVOS Esports draft, oh, Yumara playing a lot aggressive right there, spotted Pika in a weak position, tried to bully him, but didn't really expect the Kaja to be around. Good gang coming in for Jenny to get the first blood. Jenny's gonna have a bit of support from Fumi right here in the middle of this lane. Ring of Punisher coming up from the Hylos to pure for his team.
Resurrecting soon.
Looks like EVOS is just gonna secure this red buff. Law and Order coming up from Jolie right now, and they might be able to get the kill onto Atlas. Forced to use the burn Glorious Pathway, but doesn't even need it because easily get the kill with the Valor on the flame shot. Now that both the Tamus and the Uranus have the ultimate, they can go at it at each other's throat. Meanwhile, middle lane, Jenny just doing a good job at clearing up the middle lane. A little bit of an invasion coming from Caramel. Has to be careful to keep the distance between her and Jolie, who's dropping really low. And now Violet jumping in. You can revitalize on the spot right there, but Valor does pick up the kill onto the Tamus. Funi getting slowed. The Fatal Links comes in, but it only catches out the carry, but she's well supported. She will go down, and it looks like Crossbow of Tang will come out. Rival dropping down to quarter of a HP. Jenny coming up the Ring of Order, but not enraged. And that gives the time for Yumara to push up on the top side. Although Pika is there to make sure that there isn't too much of damage dealt onto the first tier. Caramel gonna ignore Uranus as a whole just to get the tier 1. Smart choice, as it looks like EVOS Esports will be the first one to pick up this tower. And I gotta say, I feel like 7Heaven ladies, they are on a bit of a timer to a certain extent, because once the 1-1 becomes really fat, you know, once she gets the corrosive blade, once she goes in or the corrosive scythe, and she builds into the demon hunter sword, she becomes really scary to deal with. And so, you know, if you compare to the carry, you know, she's really strong early game compared to the 1-1. She does have that early game damage to a certain extent, although, you know, she's not too shabby late game. So it really comes down to whether or not 7Heaven ladies can stop this 1-1 and, you know, stop all these huge CCs on the part of the Atlas and the Kaja. But it looks like EVOS Esports, they want to go for this turtle. They will do a good job at isolating away the members of 7Heaven ladies. Will easily secure the turtle right there. Last Insanity used to further zone out, uses the flicker to back off, and Yumara, they really want to go for this kill on to pick up Fatal Links, and Yumara drops to half HP. They did manage to pick up the X-Bomb right there. Revitalize drop on the spot, and 7Heaven, they want to stick in this fight as much as possible, setting it up for the Valor. Burst Fireball coming up. Uranus haven't joined the fight there. Crossbow of Tank comes up. It picks up a double kill, almost a triple. Yes, it is a triple right there. And like I said, you know, if they don't notice this 1-1, she might become an issue. Chloe dropping to half HP. Vival trying to buy some space for this carry. And they do manage to punish this aggression coming up from EVOS, although it's a pretty fair trade, I would say. You know, Tamus was a little bit of an unnecessary death, but you know, EVOS Esports, they do manage to pick up the triple kill. You know, 1-1 did stay unharmed throughout the fight, and she's already picked up a corrosive scythe, so that is good pacing for the marksman. Like I said, if EVOS Esports, if they can keep ahead of 7Heaven ladies by making sure that the 1-1 stays safe, you know, 1-1 stays out of trouble, like we saw in the last team fight, then I think they do have the upper hand. In terms of damage, they do get a solo kill onto the Leomord on top side. Didn't really have to burn the ultimate, I would say, but you know, it's not too bad. They do manage to pick up another Q onto Valor, and this is big. Without the Valor, they can't slow him down. Caramel already jumping the backline, crossbow of Tank onto the carry. Look at that, one more hit should do the trick. And now they even go for the Uranus. A lot of slow coming up for Pika with the fire missiles.
Turtle resurrecting soon.
Looks like a necklace of Durance being picked up by the Valor here, just to deal with the hue coming up from the tongues. It's definitely gonna reduce the regen effect coming up with the Coloring Inferno. Meanwhile, Caramel playing very aggressively in the jungle, has the support of Jenny nearby, but Caramel, she really wants to go for this kill on the Uranus. Meanwhile, teammates getting stuck onto the backline, a bit too far from the rest. Fatal Links onto the carry, but there is no follow-up for the rest of EVOS Esports, and now EVOS in a lot of trouble. Can Caramel proc a crossbow of Tank, trying to get the stacks on the Yumara, trying to keep the distance, but finally with the flicker, Leomord will be able to get a kill onto the 1-1, and now Pika in a lot of trouble. Law and Order coming from Jolie, stunning up the Xbox. It wasn't even able to pull off the ultimate in time, and now Pika just desperately trying to stay alive. Violet coming in to help her teammate. I think they should be fine. Overextension coming up from Jolie. One more hit. Finally manages to pull back just in time, and Chloe also manages to pick up the blue buff in her opponent's jungle, so not too bad coming up with 7Heavens to rebound from that loss of a team fight earlier. However, it is still EVOS Esports who are ahead by 2k. And finally, 1-1 has managed to pick up Demon Hunter Sword, so this is where I think they will look a little bit scary. Oh, sneaky steal with the Ring of Order coming up. Fatal Links onto the Hylos, although I don't think they really are looking for a team fight right here, just to make sure that they scare 7Heaven ladies back. Like I said, really sneaky steal coming from Jenny on the blue buff, using Ring of Order at the very last second. I'm sure that 7Heaven ladies, they won't be too glad about that. Meanwhile, we do see Last Insanity in the middle of it. All decent damage onto both the Valor and Carry. However, it is Hylos who will probably go down. Oh, Clovey has to be careful. Crossbow of Tank comes up. Looks like it's going to be a double kill, making a triple. And Kaja onto the back line. And this is good aggression coming up for EVOS Esports. Really good team fight coming out there. I wouldn't even consider a team fight. They just managed to, you know, catch out 3 members. And a little bit unfortunate for Carry there to be caught in the position of the crossbow of Tank. And for the most part, I would say Caramel did a good job. You know, they got the stacks onto the Hylos, and then she kind of focused the target onto the Carry. So really good there. The moment she managed to proc her ultimate, she just quickly transferred ultimate onto the Carry. Once again, Jolie taking a lot of damage. Crossbow of Tank already being used, and Hylos just so stubborn, refuses to go down. Although they did manage to pick up the tier 3 turret. And Violet already pushing out the bottom lane. Now they are setting up a gag for 7Heaven ladies. They do manage to get a kill onto the Carry. Meanwhile, Fire Missiles just shredding all this HP away from the members of 7Heaven. Looks like EVOS Esports, they want to go for the final blow right now. Wind of Nature coming up Caramel, so they still respect the damage coming up the Carry as well as the Leo mode. EVOS Esports up by 7k in this point of the game. They managed to get the tier 3 turret in the middle, which is really vital for them, because now they can focus on pushing both the top and bottom, which we do see the Tarbush pushing up the bottom, while the rest of EVOS Esports are pushing up onto the top. Jolie front lining, they are expecting the gang to come up. Fatal Links catches 3 members right there. The Searing Tower is not even able to push him away in time. And now they pick up another kill. Yumara 3 hits away from going down. But EVOS Esports, they know their priorities. They go back to the top lane. And now it's all down to Carry as well as Lumon to push this wave of EVOS. It's a 5v2 at this point in time. Too much firepower in the way. Ring of Order will pick up the kill onto the Carry, and just like that, EVOS Esports, they force their way into the base and they walk away with game 1 in hand. Really good game coming out from EVOS Esports, you know, putting a lot of pressure in the early game, like I said, you know, making sure that they put a lot of, give a lot of space for the 1-1 to farm. And I gotta say, I was pretty surprised to see that 7Heaven were not playing a lot more aggressive, given that they have the Valor, you know, you have a Uranus, you have a Hylos, heroes that are really good early game, heroes that don't need too much items to come online. And I think if they played a lot aggressively, they would have gotten a couple of kills early in the game. And if you look at which side of EVOS Esports, right, you see this Atlas, you see this Kaja. As scary as they are dependent on the ultimate. So before they hit that level 4, you know, they can't really put much damage out. You know, Atlas, although he's tanky, but he doesn't really have much damage in Nalian. So I think that was a perfect time for 7Heaven to push in. So I think that was just a bit of a lackluster part from 7Heaven's portion to capitalize on the fact that their hero spiked earlier than EVOS Esports. And by the time they realized that, I think it was a little bit too late. You know, you can see Caramel already building into Demon Hunter Sword. She managed to build, even managed to build into the Wind of Nature. So even if this game drags on, it's gonna be hard for them to bring down Caramel, given how much physical damage they are reliant on the Carry as well as the Lumon to bring down the one. With that being said, congratulations to EVOS Esports, and we'll go for a short break. But when we are back, game 2 between 7Heaven and EVOS Esports. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for game 2 between EVOS Esports and 7Heaven ladies. EVOS Esports did manage to walk away with game 1 in a pretty convincing lead, I would say. 7Heaven ladies, they didn't do too bad themselves. I think they did a really good job and winning a couple of team fights. But like I said, you know, if they put a lot
Your
more
team
pressure
is
on
banned.
EVOS Esports draft, I don't think they would have that much of a trouble with the 1-1. So they do ban out the Claw, whereas for South EVOS Esports, they ban out the Karja and the Kufra, two heroes which I do definitely agree. I think if you don't ban them, you have to definitely pick them out for yourselves. They are setting up for the Valor pick, I would say. Either the Valor or the Kufra pick. So I think Valor is just too good to give up at this point in time. So we will see Valor getting banned out to 7Heaven. Obviously, they do not want to give that Valor over. So I think Kufra would be a really good pick for EVOS at this point in time. They can actually follow it into a fighter pick if they want to. But I think Kufra would be a pretty good pick. I think Kufra for the most part has been working really well for them. And 7Heaven ladies.
Selena.
Ooh, they go for the Selena.
Your
Yeah,
team
Selena was
is
first face
picking.
banned by 7Heaven ladies in the previous game. So I can understand why the Selena is focused so much by EVOS Esports. And well, I guess if I was someone in EVOS Esports, I would focus on the Kufra pick as well as something to really counter the early aggression coming from EVOS. They do pick up the Hylos. Stable, you know, they were really comfortable with the Hylos. You know, I saw that they definitely did really well just now, especially the Valor. You know, didn't really need too much of a support on this Hylos. You know, really comfortable with it, so I can see why they chose to go it. They follow up with the Asmurder, which is understandable. And EVOS Esports, they pick up the Atlas with the Valor getting banned out. So pretty sneaky draft. I would say, you know, picking up the carry would be really good. You can see how comfortable they were, or rather how comfortable 7Heaven Esports, 7Heaven ladies, sorry, were on the carry. So I would predict that they will go back on the carry pick, but for now it's important for them to deal with this Kimi draft. So what they want is someone who can scale as early as Kimi, or at least is able to, you know, push away the early aggression coming from Kimi. So it's important for them to pick up a fighter that doesn't really get pressured as much. They do pick up the Farsa first, but I would presume that a ban right here will be focused on a lot of the fighter bans. So something like the Jawhead, you know, Jawhead getting banned out would be really good for them. Either the Jawhead or the Cho. I haven't really seen a Cho pick coming into the Indonesia portion for FSL Mobile Legends. So maybe it's just not popular in the region, although I do believe that he is really highly picked or banned in the MPL Indonesia. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a pickup from the Cho. They banned the Thomas, which is understandable. I think they want to force EVOS to ban out the Jawhead. This is what they want, right? Because they definitely will pick up the Jawhead next if it isn't banned out. And you know, if EVOS Esports ban out, they can say, you know what, it's okay, there's still a Cho, there's a Uranus that we can go for. So there really isn't any need to panic with this fighter ban. So I think it's vital that EVOS Esports do ban out either a Cho or a Jawhead now. Because if they don't ban out, I think they are risking giving away one of those to 7 Esports. Or they can go totally rogue. So I think the reasoning behind banning out the Xbox is that they are letting one of the Cho or the Jawhead ban or picks to 7Heaven, and they can go for the other one, which is also not too bad. And then, you know, they can obviously pick up the last fighter, which I think is going to be a Lilmon. Ooh, Granger pick. I'm not sure if they actually want to pick the Granger now, because EVOS Esports, they've already reviewed the Kimi. So there really isn't a need to pick up the MM at this point in time. Yes, they can go for the Granger, but I think it's just too risky. Now you can give both the Cho as well as the Jawhead. Oh, for some reason, Cho is just not getting picked. I have no understanding why. Cho is such a good hero. But it's okay. We'll see how that one runs. They do pick up the Masha and the Jawhead. And I think, I don't know, I don't think we'll see a Cho. For some reason, Cho is just getting avoided totally for both of these teams. I think they will pick up the Leomon, either the Leomon or the Uranus. And I think Uranus makes a lot of sense right here.
Ling.
Oh, they go for the Ling. not too bad. We haven't seen Ling play in a really long time. The last time I saw Ling was about 2 seasons ago, you know, when he was still considered a really viable pick. And I gotta say, Ling is one of those heroes where if you do not pay attention to him, he can get quite pesky, especially in late game, you know, where he's just definitely just gonna go for the, once he gets that level 4, I think that's where he gets really scary, because he's gonna have that Tempest of Blade, and he's gonna be rotating around looking for kills. So it's really vital that the side of EVOS Esports are aware of their positions, and especially for the Kimi, who is probably gonna be the target for the most part. However, I gotta say, if you look at EVOS Esports, they don't have to worry about the Ling in terms of having too many open targets, right? If you look at the their lineup, essentially the only target that's worth getting ganked by the Ling is either the Kimi or the Selena. And obviously, you know, Selena is playing the support role, so she's not really that strong core that you really want to go for. So that only leaves the carry. Or not the carry, but the Kimi.
Smash them. All troops deployed.
So like I said, really vital here for 7Heaven to pick up game 2, because if not, EVOS Esports is going to proceed into the semi-finals, or rather the quarter-finals in day 2. Invasion on both sides of the map. Both gonna pick up their opponent's raid buff, although it looks like Jenny might be able to come in the rare last time. Oh, nope, it's secured, and they might be able to get the first, but they burn the flicker away from the Selena, which is decent. 7Heaven just making sure that EVOS Esports do not walk away with the raid buff at no cost. So arrow landing onto the high-lows right there, although I don't think they will be able to get him. He popped the revitalize at the very last second, but they might be able to get the first blood, and there it is. EVOS Esports once again getting the first blood. Jolie just gonna a little bit of a flyby. I think they can't get any kill right there. EVOS Esports ahead with that first blood. Now they're gonna put pressure on this bottom lane. Heaven just making sure that they don't fall back by too much. Like I said, if they can go into late game, that would be really good, because you know the effectiveness of Kimi will definitely drop by quite a bit. And obviously EVOS Esports, they know that, they know they're on the timer, so they're just trying to steal away all this farm and quickly get the Kimi up to speed, and quickly make use of whatever early game advantage they have with this Kimi by pushing up the lanes really quickly. Oh, Stardust does, but it's a really good reaction coming off Pika, the injector immediately with the reaction skills to push the Ass Murder away before she could jump in with the Stardust dance. But EVOS already on to the next step, and that's gonna be trying to invade this jungle of 7Heaven's. Good pull away by the Hylos. Well, we do see Ling pushing out by herself, and Vivo, she's just gonna ignore everything else that's gonna be happening on the map. She does, oh, nearly 2 more hits. I think that's not gonna be a problem. Meanwhile, we do see EVOS Esports trying to put whatever pressure they can onto the lanes, although Ling has already managed to pick up the first Q there. They don't even need to use the ultimate. Ooh, at the very last second. Although they did have to burn the Tempest of Blades, I don't think that's too big of a loss because eventually he's gonna have to go back to heal. Meanwhile, we do see Funi going on the Chloe right now. Kimi did manage to pick up the middle lane. Now, Vivo doesn't really have the ultimate right there, has to quickly jump right onto a creep. Oh, Funi with the flicker into the Fatal Links. However, that being said, they did not manage to get the kill onto the link, and now Caramel has to burn the flicker as well. That is a bit of a, I would say, loss for the side of EVOS Esports. They committed to the push, they flicker into the Fatal Links, but despite all of that, not managed to get the kill, although Violet did manage to pick off Grandeur in a very awkward position. And on top of it, EVOS Esports also did manage to pick up the first tier tower in the bottom lane. I'm pretty sure they're gonna get the turtle as well. So a really good rebound. Mara just making sure that Marsha doesn't have that free push, just constantly trying to keep her in lane, while the rest of EVOS Esports are trying to gain some sort of a map control. Pika already rotating the mid lane. Oh, he spots out the far side in a really bad spot, but wasn't able to use ejector in time right there. Meanwhile, Funi just delaying time with the Fatal Links. Not sure if they could have full up there. I don't think they could, but that did manage to buy some space for both the Kimi as well as Marsha to push up onto the top lane. So a little bit of a fair trade there. Going one already up for Kimi, so it's going to be a pure magical damage Kimi, and I'm pretty sure she will go into a Blade of Despair towards the late game just so that she can have some sort of a late game damage. And look at that, Jaw hit immediately blowing up the far side. Tempest Blade not being able to put to good use. Meanwhile, top lane once again, Selena as well as Violet did manage to get a kill. I'm pretty sure that was an Abyssal Arrow setup, and that's going to allow Marsha to push into the second tier tower.
Turtle resurrecting soon.
Marsha just trying to stay efficient by getting the jungle creeps as well as the lane, so that she can, you know, stay ahead in terms of farm. She's got a Demon Hunter Swan. I'm pretty sure she's probably gonna go into the golden stuff, but we'll see whether she does go for it. Meanwhile, Feather Airstrike onto mid, Jolie dropping really low, and Fatal Links as well to bring the high loss onto the back line. They did manage to kill a Abyssal Arrow onto Chloe, who burns the Purify. Meanwhile, Tempest of Blades onto Jenny. Selena just staying alive with a slither of health. Link has to wait for the stamina bar to go up. They managed to jump onto the turtle wall, and that's gonna allow Vivo to stay alive in that. But I gotta say, EVOS Esports definitely not finding game 2 easier by any means as compared to game 1. They also lose the Selena to a little bit of greediness. Should have just gone back to heal, but stayed around a little bit too long. But that being said, I think Selena did manage to pick up the Necklace of Endurance. Link still building towards the endless battle. Oh, but he instantly gets blown up. Vivo one more hit should do the trick, and now it looks like EVOS Esports with the Link out of the way. They don't really have to worry too much about the pesky split push, and now they can even focus onto the Hylos Abyssal Arrow once again, landing on his mark. And they even throw in the Fatal Links to secure the kill onto the Hylos. And with Odisha out of the way, they can push into tier 2. Not only that, they are making their way into the tier 2 in the middle lane. Umara getting stunned by the Fatal Links. Look at that Kimi! The Holy Crystal built up. She does have the spike of damage at this point in time. They can abuse this Kimi, and I think it's not over for 7Heaven if they can delay this game long enough. Like I said, Kimi's effectiveness go down, and given the fact she's building into pure magical damage, she can they can definitely pull off the game. And if this game goes the distance, they might have a shot in this. But at this point in time, EVOS Esports is applying a lot of pressure across the map, be it whether or not the Marsha's pushing the top, or the Kimi just bullying whoever's in mid. Look at that, Marsha just annoyingly avoids taking any sort of aggression against the Asmon, focuses on the tower. Double kill coming up from Caramel on the top side.
Request backup.
Lot uncontested. Now with EVOS Esports 8k ahead and the Lord pushing in, it's definitely going to be an uphill task for 7Heaven, who are nowhere near their peak at this point in time. They still need so many items in grandeur. He has just managed to complete his Blade of Despair. Even an endless battle being built up by the Jawhead at this point of time. Caramel getting another kill onto Vivo before he can pull off the Tempest of Blades. Not only that, they pick up the Farsa. Look at the burst damage coming from EVOS Esports. They're just pummeling onto the base. I'm pretty sure this is going to be GG. Too much HP on the Lord. And with that, EVOS Esports are going to proceed into the quarterfinals.
Victory!
Really good play coming out for EVOS Esports right there. Look at the scoreboard, 15-5. And I gotta say, that was really tough for 7Heaven's lady, who I think for the most part they did try to mimic their opponent's rotation. They're doing decently early game. They traded the evade, and they even managed to get the first blood there. And I thought for a moment, this was possible, right? 7Heavens, they were doing exceptionally well, but once again, not being able to stop that early aggression coming from EVOS Esports kind of cost them the game. And I think draft definitely helped EVOS Esports a lot, right? Look at this time around, instead of going for late game heroes, they picked up the Selena, they picked up the Kimi, heroes that from the get-go can straight away play this early game. They have the jaw hit as well, and I gotta say, Marsha just playing insanely well at the top against this Asmurder. For the most part, wasn't able to really cope from this aggression from Violet. She was just constantly pushing in, making use of her shields, ignoring Asmurder as a complete whole. And I gotta say, the Asmurder just wasn't a really good matchup against this Marsha, who doesn't really rely on shield. She has 2 HP. It's not really considered a shield when she uses life recovery, because that's considered HP, right? Because at the end of the day, she has 3 HP bars. So Asmurder wasn't as effective against Marsha as compared to what I would say like a Kadita, like we saw in the previous matchup in the previous teams. So once again, congratulations to EVOS Esports. They will proceed into the next half of the bracket, which is going to be the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, we still have a lot of games for you today, so I'm really excited for that. I think we are waiting for the rest of the results to come in. If you missed out the first matchup, it was actually between I believe Bellatron against Avila, which we saw Bellatron proceed up against Geek in the round number 2. So we are also waiting for the results for that. But don't go anywhere. We still have 2 more BO3s for you guys. The next game will be between Vivacious Angels and Naked Esports Echo. And then also we have one more matchup for you after that. So we have plenty of games for day 1, and obviously we'll also be streaming on day 2. With that being said, we'll go for a short little break, but when we are back, the next match for FSL and the Mobile Legends Bang Bang series.